Hello everyone and welcome back to day 2 of my fall series for this year. And today I decided I wanted to try some masking. This is the first time I've tried to create a full masking scene. It's not very big, but it's enough to just kind of start out with. So I've got several Lawn Fawn stamp sets here today. I've got the Jump for Joy, Thanks a Bushel, Thanks a Latte, and Happy Harvest. I'm going to utilize several of the images from these stamps today. And here in my Misty tool, I'm using some Nina Solar White cardstock because I'm going to be doing some Copic coloring today. And I'm starting out with, I had a little sketch of what I was looking for, and I was lining everything up just to make sure I had an idea of what needed to go first. Because with masking, you want to make sure that the images that you want to be in the foreground or in the front, you want to stamp those first and then mask them. The masking paper that I'm using today is some Ink and Deekadoo masking paper. So I kept going back and forth and placing my cup in there where I wanted to have it so I knew where I could place everything else around it. It was a little time consuming, but I really like the way it turned out. Considering it was the first time I've done a masking project like this, I think it turned out really good. So once I got all of that lined up, I started working on my scene a little bit more, adding some of the pumpkins in here. I wanted it to be kind of like a scene of, I know these pumpkins are really tiny compared to this cup, and I don't think you'd ever find pumpkins this small, but I really like the way that the scene turned out. I think it turned out really good. I really like it. I was thinking like a big cup of apple cider. I really, really love warm apple cider in the fall. It's probably my favorite drink. I'm not so much a pumpkin latte kind of person. I really don't like coffee, but I really enjoy a nice warm cup of apple cider. It just screams fall for me. Finishing up a couple more leaves here to get my scene just the way I wanted it. And then I can remove all of my masks and then I can get into my coloring. And I was really pleased. And I had one spot where I didn't mask it quite good enough, so I just took my pen. This is the same pen I used on the last card, just to make sure that it was Copic friendly. I tested it first. So now I'm going to get into my coloring, and once the coloring is all finished, we will come back and we will finish up this cute card together. So after my coloring was all done, I decided I wanted to do some paper piecing for the scarf around the cup there. And I couldn't decide on what I wanted, so I have a couple of options from a few 6x6 paper packs that I have. I have an older Lawn Fawn set here, and I have one from Echo Park. And I just couldn't decide on what I wanted. I know I wanted to do paper piecing because I wanted to have a plaid background. So I just tried to do some kind of sorting out here, and I finally ended up using the one that had the larger plaid. And then I took my Tombow marker and went around the edges to kind of clean up some of that fussy cutting, and I glued it down with my liquid Lawn Fawn glue pen. So next I decided I wanted to try a technique that I saw, and forgive me, I can't remember where I saw it from, but I probably picked it up somewhere random. But it's you take a black pen, it could be a Copic multiliner. I don't have one, so I just use this pen here I have, and adding some kind of like hash marking shading around the images. Kind of gives them a little bit of depth and dimension. To me, it kind of reminds me of almost like a comic book. And I really, really like the way it turned out. I think it gives it lots of character. And after I had all that done, I went in with my Sakura white gel pen and added in my highlighting that I always do. And I really like this little scene. I think it turned out really amazing. Excuse me. So next, I decided I wanted to cut this panel out so that I could mat it on some fun colored cardstock. And I'm using the MFT A2 Stitch Stacks Dynamics. And I had a little bit of a boo-boo happen, and I got a little upset at myself. But in the end, I did fix it, and the card still turned out really good. And I decided to take some warm gray markers here and add just a little bit of shading underneath the images there, just to kind of ground them a little bit so that they weren't floating in midair. So next, I'm going to work on my sentiment. I'm using some of the sentiments from the stamp sets that I used, and the sentiment says, "Hope your fall is full of happiness." And I'm just using some VersaFine Onyx black ink because it's a nice dark ink to get my sentiment in there today. I'm just going to trim out some strips and get those attached. And I couldn't decide how I wanted it, so I decided to do like a stacked sentiment to kind of fill up all that empty space there. And then I wanted to use some of that same plaid paper to kind of pull that back in. Now I apologize because this plaid paper isn't available anymore. I'm sure you could find something that's similar. I have quite a bit of it, and I'd like to get it used up, so that's the only reason why I'm using it today. So I used the same stitch stacked dies to cut out those panels so I could have a nice mat behind my little scene here. Using the same Lawn Fawn liquid glue to glue all this down. I use this glue quite a bit. It's probably my favorite glue. And then I was going to use some Nouveau drops, but then I decided I had these sequins from Lucy's Little Things. I'm not sure if these are available anymore either. I have a lot of things that I just need to get used up, but you could use any kind of sequin mix that you have. And I figured that would help kind of cover up that little bit of a boo-boo I had, and it turned out really fabulous. And get those all glued down. I think that really adds some shine to it. Finishing up, I added some shimmer using my Aqua Shimmer pen, and then I placed my panel on an A2 sized card base with some Nina Desert Storm cardstock. And then to finish it up completely, I decided I wanted to add a little bit of white stitching around the edges just to kind of finish it up. And that's it. I really hope you guys enjoy this card. I hope you enjoy the video. Thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate all the viewers and the subscribers, so please don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well as the little notification bell so you don't miss out on any more videos, and I hope you come back for day 3. Have a good day. Bye.